I still remember the exact sound of the door opening that night. It was quiet, hesitant, the kind of sound you barely notice unless you are already half awake. I had been lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind crowded with thoughts I could not silence. Sleep had been difficult for weeks, ever since my marriage began to feel like a fragile arrangement held together by routine rather than trust. When I heard the door creak, I turned my head slowly, expecting to see my husband returning late or perhaps just imagining things. Instead, I saw my son, Ethan, standing there in the dim light of the hallway. Asterisk, he was 19. Old enough to carry the weight of adult thoughts, but still young enough to be unsettled by emotions he did not fully understand. He stood frozen for a moment, as if unsure whether to step forward or retreat. His face looked pale, his eyes filled with something I could not immediately identify. Fear, maybe, or determination. I sat up slightly, pulling the blanket closer around me, my heart suddenly beating faster. Asterisk, Ethan? I said softly, careful not to startle him. Is everything okay? Asterisk, he did not answer right away. He took a few slow steps into the room, closing the door behind him with deliberate care. The silence that followed felt heavy, pressing down on my chest. I could sense that whatever had brought him here was not small. This was not a request for advice about college or a casual late-night conversation. Something was wrong. Asterisk, I didn't know where else to go, he finally said. His voice was low, strained, as if each word required effort. I'm sorry for waking you. Asterisk, you didn't, I replied, though that was not entirely true. Sit down. Talk to me. Asterisk, he sat on the edge of the chair near my bed, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. For a long moment, he stared at the floor, rubbing his hands together nervously. I waited, resisting the urge to push him. I have learned over the years that silence often gives people the courage to speak. Asterisk, I found something, he said at last. Or, I heard something. I don't even know how to explain it. Asterisk, my stomach tightened. In that instant, 100 possibilities raced through my mind. Trouble at school, problems with friends, something illegal, something dangerous. I was not prepared for what he said next. Asterisk, I think Dad is lying to you, Ethan continued, and I didn't know whether to tell you because I didn't want to hurt you, but I can't carry this by myself. Asterisk, the words landed like a sudden blow. I felt the air leave my lungs, though I forced myself to remain calm. I had suspected for some time that my husband was hiding something. Late nights, secretive phone calls, unexplained absences. I had tried to dismiss those doubts, telling myself I was being paranoid, that stress was clouding my judgment. Hearing those fears reflected in my son's voice made them impossible to ignore. Asterisk, what do you mean? I asked carefully. Tell me exactly what you know. Asterisk, Ethan swallowed hard. He looked up at me then, his eyes shining with unshed tears. I came home earlier than usual tonight. I heard Dad on the phone in the study. He didn't hear me come in. He was talking to someone, not about work. He was laughing in a way I haven't heard in a long time. And he said things he shouldn't have said if he was talking to a colleague. Asterisk, I closed my eyes briefly, steadying myself. What kind of things? Asterisk, personal things, Ethan said. Intimate things. He said he missed her, that he hated lying but didn't see another way. And then he said your name. He said he felt guilty but that he couldn't stop. Asterisk, each sentence felt like another crack forming in something I had spent years trying to protect. I sat back against the pillows, my mind struggling to process the reality of what my son was telling me. This was not a rumor or a suspicion overheard by chance. This was direct, undeniable evidence of betrayal. Asterisk, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, Ethan said quickly, his voice trembling. I wasn't spying. I just heard it, and I felt sick. I still do. Asterisk, I reached out and took his hand. It felt cold. You did the right thing by telling me, I said, though my voice wavered. I know this wasn't easy. Asterisk, that's what I'm afraid of, he replied. I don't know what the right thing is anymore. He's my father, but you're my mother. I feel like no matter what I do, someone gets hurt. Asterisk, his words pierced me more deeply than anything else that night. The betrayal was painful, yes, but seeing my son caught in the middle of it was devastating. Children are not supposed to carry their parents' secrets, especially ones this heavy. I realized then how unfair the situation was, how my husband's choices had created a burden that now rested on Ethan's shoulders. Asterisk, you're not responsible for fixing this, I said firmly, and you're not betraying anyone by being honest. Whatever happens next, that is between your father and me. Asterisk, Ethan nodded slowly, though the tension in his body did not fully ease. I just didn't want you to find out in some worse way. I didn't want you to feel foolish or alone. Asterisk, I squeezed his hand. Thank you for caring about me enough to come here tonight. Asterisk, we sat in silence for a few moments after that. The house felt different now, as if the walls themselves were listening. I could hear the distant hum of the refrigerator, the ticking of the clock in the hallway. Ordinary sounds that suddenly felt surreal, like reminders that life continued even as something fundamental was breaking. Asterisk, after a while, Ethan spoke again. What are you going to do? Asterisk, it was a simple question, but I did not have a simple answer. I don't know yet, I admitted. I need to talk to your father. I need the truth from him, not fragments or half explanations. Asterisk, are you going to leave? He asked quietly. Asterisk, the fear in his voice was unmistakable. I took a deep breath. I don't know, I said again. What I do know is that whatever decision I make, it will be with your well-being in mind. That doesn't mean pretending nothing is wrong. It means choosing what is healthiest in the long run. Asterisk, he nodded, looking relieved but still uncertain. I just want things to make sense again. So do I said softly. That night, after Ethan returned to his room, I did not sleep at all. I replayed his words over and over, analyzing every detail. The pieces I had ignored for months suddenly fell into place. The late meetings, the emotional distance, the way my husband avoided my eyes when I asked simple questions. Trust, I realized, does not usually collapse all at once. It erodes quietly until one moment exposes the damage that has already been done. Asterisk, the next morning, I confronted my husband. I did not mention Ethan at first. I asked direct questions calmly, giving him the opportunity to be honest. He denied everything initially, insisting I was imagining things.